Hello everybody, welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here, and we're back in our Planet Coaster 2 water park, Rolling Rapids, as we're experiencing what the park looked like at the beginning stages of its construction. We're not quite to opening day yet, but we do have the front entrance all done as of now. We've stepped behind the walls. Let's go ahead and walk into the park to see some of the changes. The first big change, though, that you can see is the fact that there's this giant crane doing some work. This is an amazing Frontier Workshop piece that I found, and the fact that we have these moving tools is just so cool. To be able to have this crane continually spinning and moving, it's just phenomenal. I love the fact that you can do that with some of the new pieces in game. Nothing really changed in the front entrance. I added a little bit more foliage. You can see a bridge off to nowhere as of now. We'll just keep walking past everything that we already looked at in the first episode, kind of get a glimpse of what's in the background there. But we've got some nice looking theming, very simplistic. It's apparently windy right now. As you can see, the trees are just bending and wobbling way more than they should, honestly. But it's really looking nice, very simplistic, very much a Soak City vibe in my opinion, as there's just some light foliage, a little bit of theming, just enough to be like, oh, that's kind of nice. But you can also see some potential water slides in the background. We'll get to those in a bit. The first major thing, though, is Aloha Outfitters. This is our kind of realistically general wares shop. You can find clothing, swimwear, sunscreen, anything of that nature in this shop. However, of course, like any Planet game, we have to have a bunch of shelving units with random item pieces, whether they would be sold or not in the park. A couple of these are repeating just because they fit the theme better. I don't think the Viking stuff really made sense, and the mythological stuff on the right-hand side barely kind of fits in. But some amazing pieces again in the Frontier Workshop. This was all one set of items. I think they all look super, super good. And it makes, of course, filling out the interiors at least lightly pretty easy. Because all I realistically want is this shot right here of the front entrance of the shop. And I think it looks amazing. Now, keeping in line that this is 1996 specifically, I had to go with our racing slides, our 12 racing mat slides, and name them something that was racing related, and took inspiration from that really famous or infamous color scheme of the DuPont NASCAR cars back in the 90s, specifically Jeff Gordon's, and it was a rainbow scheme, and it just was like, you know what? This is a straight line shot. This is a drag race right here. All 12 lanes, all in bright rainbow colors. It looks really cool. Would have made sense, especially in 1996, to open this way. But you can see all 12 of the slides testing. It's probably pretty loud right here. But yeah, it's always great to see the testing going on. We're almost close to the park officially being open, which is really exciting. There's a lot more we got to cover in just a second. But yeah, super simplistic queue right now. Just kind of goes off to the side. Pretty much a straight shot just alongside the mess of supports over here. I gotta change this for sure. And then the covered main platform heads up the stairs, and I don't think we can actually do that in this camera. Yeah, no, I figured not. There's still a lot of issues in this game, unfortunately. Thankfully, though, there is going to be a pretty big update in December, which I'm excited about. It just kind of stinks that I feel like we're officially getting the full release a month later than the game came out. But yeah, I absolutely love all the shots of Drag Race, our official first set of slides, and this is going to be really cool because my idea is that we're going to be growing alongside the park. With every new edition will be a different year that we're visiting, and this is officially right before opening. So this would have been like winter of 1995 into winter of 1996, and it's really exciting. Now, I don't think they'd be testing right now necessarily, especially with so much work to be done elsewhere, but it's just kind of nice to give you a visual of all of those dummies sliding down the slides. Unfortunately, though, in the main game right now, we can't link up the slides to actually get them to race with guests. So they kind of just go at their own will, which is unfortunate, but hopefully that changes pretty soon. But yeah, I think it's really great looking. Maybe a little garish, but again, it is 1996. It makes total sense if you ask me. It was gonna be really colorful, really whimsical, like this very out there, just uber tiki vibe to the entire park, at least in the advertising that they would have put out. And yeah, I think it looks really great. So let's go ahead and go into the construction because there's a lot more to cover. As we've turned around, looking the opposite direction as the main slides, you can see some nice graphics. You can see this amazing crane. And also, something I found in the workshop, Dippin' Dots. That's right, we actually have a Dippin' Dots stand. I'm so excited to see this. Pretty easy to find in the Frontier Workshop. Just type in Dippin' Dots. And yeah, it's amazing. It actually works as a real stand that guests will use. It is so amazing looking. I'm so happy we can do so many different things, like the fonts on anything we want. It's just so nice to be able to do that. It looks amazing, and there is so much more that we're gonna have to hop in and look at in just a second as we're gonna round our way back towards the entrance to look at the backstage. We're gonna sneak through the gate. Boom, here we go. This is kind of the basic looking backstage, a little bit of foliage. You can actually see a gateway that we probably should have gone through earlier. These are actual maintenance buildings right here, as well as a break room on the right-hand side. The workers are supposed to use it. I don't really think I've ever seen them do it. Just like I've never seen them actually attend to the infrastructure things like the electricity related or water related infrastructure. And it's kind of a big issue if you ask me, especially if they keep breaking and they don't end up fixing it like they're supposed to. But regardless, hopefully that comes in the update. Some storage right here. I wasn't sure exactly what to put as storage outside of maybe some extra life rafts that they would put into the lazy river. Yes, there's a lazy river. We'll talk about it later. These are some of the infrastructure pieces I was talking about in terms of water and energy generation. I'm going to move these actually in a bit just because I think they get in the way of potential service vehicles that would be coming through this gate over here next to kind of this break area. Just a couple nice seats for anybody that wants to chill out there during their break. But here's kind of a look from the pedestrian bridge. That is kind of a vehicle gateway, if you will, at least for smaller vehicles. And I think it just made sense over here. There's going to be another one on the other side of things. Oop, don't pay attention to the slides over there. It's not that year yet. But yeah, it's looking really good, really simplistic, but I think it works for what we're wanting. But goodness gracious, yeah, that crane is just, that view is so good. I love that so much. Now, as we kind of get a bird's eye view of the entryway, you can see actually, oh, there's an employee walking around. I thought I fired them all. Oops. You can see kind of the layout of the entry, at least what the park would have been in its grand opening state. This is probably the extent of that. It really would not have been that big, just a nice little addition to the day. Try and convince families to stay an extra day at the entirety of the resort. So yeah, and really helpful during the summer months when they want to bring in as many people as possible, when it's as warm as possible. But yeah, here's kind of an overlook though of Drag Race from above. Again, don't pay attention to the slides back there. They don't exist, not yet. But yeah, I think it looks really good. I'm super excited over the episodes to age this slide as well as all the other slides that have maybe gotten sun damage, need to have a repainted sign, other things like that. It's going to be really cool to go into those details, and I hope you notice them in the future, especially in the next decade of slides that we get through. There's going to be some really interesting changes to Drag Race, and I hope you're excited to see them, just because that's what happens in real life. Everything ages, everything needs a repaint every once in a while. Yeah, it's really cool. Now, I got to say, I planned actually all of this on live stream. You can check out the live stream still. I released it before the first episode of this park officially, just because it wasn't quite uploading quick enough. But here is what we're looking at. We have a pretty massive lazy river. Honestly, it takes up a pretty big plot of land. There are 3 entry points, one from the central island and then 2 from the outer ring, which I think is going to be really cool. Hopefully the guests, once they're fixed, will actually use it, because unfortunately, right now, all they do is just sit in the entryways and act like it's a full pool. And it's like, no, go into the river itself, please. But they don't, unfortunately, do that. But yeah, a couple different pedestrian bridges here. Still debating this one on the side, but we'll get around to that eventually. And a lot of these entryways into the lazy river are actually just going to be filled with seats. This is probably over here going to be called Breezy Beach or Breezy Bay. This would have been more of the adult-centric side of the park. Realistically, a bunch of places to lounge and maybe sunbathe, and then also a couple places to get a drink or two. So yeah, that will be interesting once we fill that out. And speaking of drinks, I am going to, even though it says storage right here, I forgot to change it. This is going to be a tiki bar, a raised tiki bar. So you'll get kind of this cool overview of the lazy river with some nice foliage and whatnot. I think it's going to be really, really cool once we get there. And then on the complete opposite side of things, we're going to have a splash castle, kind of a splash fortress, if you will, in the central island here for the kiddos. I think it's going to be really, really cool once we get around to that. And officially, 3 more slides that I actually need to do something real quick. Give me a second. Whoa. See the difference? Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool going through the ages of this park and changing things up. Very basic slides as of now. They kind of get more and more extreme the warmer of a color you go. So the blue slide is the least intense. The green slide is kind of in the middle. And then that orange slide is the most intense by G-forces, speed, and and excitement rating, actually, which is kind of nice. But yeah. Super simplistic slide complex. This will be one of the 2 major tube-based slide complexes when the park officially opens. So yeah, it's really nice to have that done. Kind of had to experiment quite a bit. It took me about an hour and a half to actually figure out what I wanted to do in terms of these slides. So it's nice to have them finished up and nice to have them along the main pathway. Hopefully guests use them in the future. I've tried to get guests to use them over a couple hours time. They always walk right up and then leave. So unfortunately, the game is still very much unfinished. But it's nice to see that this park is also on its way to being finished. Hopefully, before that update comes out, the park will officially be open. It will officially be the year 1996, and specifically summer. So I'm excited for that to happen, and I hope you are too. But that's going to cover everything we wanted to talk about in our second official episode of Rolling Rapids. I hope you're enjoying. There's going to be much more to come from this water park, and I can't wait to officially open the park, hopefully next episode. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you all so much for watching. But until next time, we'll see you on the next ride.